Hello and welcome back to LDC Heroes Live by Experience Care. My name is Peter Murphy Lewis. I'm your host. I'm at day 2 of the Innovation Summit 2023. I'm speaking to owner, certified leadership coach of the Warriors Mindset, Mark Iverson. Mark, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Peter. Glad to be here.
Mark, I want to start off with your story because I get the opportunity to speak to coaches, consultants, but when one of my favorite people in long-term care, Jaylene Carpenter,
Yeah.
says his backstory is interesting, I want to start how you got into long-term care. Walk me through that.
Yeah, I love telling the story. So thanks for asking about that. So, kind of typical out of college, trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. Worked as a fitness specialist in a cardiac rehab in Kearney, Nebraska at the hospital there. And from there, moved to Omaha. And again, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Well, I landed in a long term care community as a restorative specialist. That was my
Mm.
first job in long term care, and quickly realized, of course, my wife said you should work with older adults, with seniors. That's your calling, Mark. If you're not recognizing it, I am, and I'm
Yeah.
telling you. So I think after about a year or so, I realized this is my calling. It's my passion. And so decided to serve in different capacities. So from there, worked as an administrator or director of an assisted living community, executive director, senior executive director, to my last role in the industry, 7 years as vice president of operations for a provider in Omaha. So,
That leads me to a follow-up question, which is walk me through as many of those steps or those job titles and walk me through what you learned each way that
yeah.
helps you now with mindset, with consulting, with wellness with your clients.
Yeah. Well, I, I think the thing that I have come to recognize over the years, wherever I go, it's not about my service. It's about me serving the other individuals, and what can I give of myself to individuals. I have my own personal belief statement, which creates my own mission statement,
Mhm,
which it's rooted in my faith, Peter. But
mhm,
my belief is that I'm here on this planet to serve and take care of other people.
mm,
And I try to share that mission, that if you're in the service industry, long term care, that's what we're doing. We're in the relationship business. We're
mm,
here to help and take care of people,
mhm.
whether it's our coworkers or the residents in our communities.
One of the sessions that I speak on regularly because it's my favorite book and the book I've gifted most is Five Languages of Love. And I
Sure.
usually poll the audience to determine what their love language is. It's close to 50% of people in long-term care's love language is acts of service.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds like that would resonate with what you're also teaching.
Yeah, for sure. You mentioned earlier, I'm a Gallup Clifton Strengths certified coach. And so they afford me lots of information, as you can
Mm,
imagine, data and analytics. And then I provide the real life stories and circumstances to those analytics.
mm,
And one of the things that resonates with me along those lines, Peter, is they recognize, and they've done their surveying, the four things that our people, our followers, need from us as leaders more than anything.
mm,
And they're feeling based. The gift cards and having amazing flexible schedules, those types of things didn't show up. Those are tools, but ultimately they're feelings. Our people need trust, they need compassion, they need stability, and they need hope. Those are the
mm,
top four things
mm,
that, as a leader, we need to know that our people want and need from us. So,
mm.
to your point, that too, that's their love language. They need to know that they can trust the leaders and thus the organizations that they're working with and for.
Those kind of intangible concepts I find in my work, in my teamwork, with my boss, those things can translate in a simple structure into the one-on-one relationship you have with your superior, with me, with my boss, or with my direct supports.
Yeah,
And I find that people miss those small elements because they don't have time. And
yeah,
if you explain that that one-on-one is not 20 minutes of your time, rather it's four elements that you just said that makes those people feel closer to you,
yeah,
better retention.
yeah.
Do you have any other, I'm trying to think of the word, do you have any other structural, simple things that you teach people to say, to fill it in to make sure that those four messages are coming across and being provided to their teammates?
Yeah, Again, I think it starts with recognizing what does the person across the table want or need from me.
Mm,
Start there. So the
mhm,
four things that I mentioned earlier, and then how do you go about delivering what they actually want and need? So
mm,
again, Gallup has great analytics to help support that.
mm,
Number one, we start by, to again, to your point, we build real, genuine, and relationships based on empathy, based on empathy.
mm.
So not what do I want, what do I need from this relationship, but how can I contribute and support you? That's the foundation of being an empathetic leader.
I have a question, kind of insider industry and
Sure.
outsider industry. Do you work with clients outside of long-term care once in a while?
I do. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my question is, what are things that you take from long-term care and are able to help with them because of your work here, because you've been in the industry, and also vice versa? I always find that sometimes we get in the trenches, and sometimes we just need a librarian to come in and tell bankers what's wrong, and sometimes we need a banker to go into a public library and say, like, this could be better too.
Yeah, yeah. I think the big learning, having spent 20 plus years of my life in the long term care industry, so the number two component that I talked about was compassion, and I've spoken on this at associations, that was not a surprise to me, that long term care professionals, compassion is number two. It's at the top of your list. Um, Bankers, realtors, the law profession, it's at the top of their list too. We're
Mm,
more similar than we are different as far as what we need and want from our organizations and our leaders. Trust and compassion, stability and hope are congruent across all industries.
mm. Tell me the backstory on the name of your company. I thought it was really interesting. It made me feel like I was gonna be prepared with the tools to win the 12th season of Alone.
Yeah, I love it. So, and maybe having not met me, you might have thought Warriors mindset is this David Goggins coming here that I'm interviewing today? I don't look like a warrior.
I'm reading that book right now.
It's wonderful book. Good. Can't break me. It's a good one. But yeah, so a warrior mindset is I have found you have to take care of other people. That's a warrior mindset. Be uber focused on the people that you are entrusted to serve and to lead. But a warrior mindset also says, I've got to take care of myself too.
Mm,
To give of my best to other people, I have to be at the top of my game too.
mm. Where did you tell me about the moment when you came up with the name? Where were you? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Was it a conversation with someone?
It was, and one of my peers at the time, a fellow vice president, when I had said, I'm leaning towards calling my company the Warriors Mindset, and before I could give the why behind it, he kind of made a scowl face at me. Oh, you use your name, the Mark Iverson name. That brand is what's strong, and I said I appreciate that, but my reach is strong in long-term care, my brand, the Mark Iverson brand, but I want that brand to extend to other areas of
Mm,
industry as well.
mm,
And a warrior mindset, absolutely, these long-term care heroes that you've been interviewing and
mhm,
will continue to interview today, they have a warrior mindset. They
mm.
have to. They get beaten down on a Monday, they come back on a Tuesday and serve again. That's a very definition of a warrior mindset.
What I love about it as a marketer is that it doesn't warrior normally doesn't go with the language that we use in long-term care, so it makes you pause. And then when
Yeah,
I go to your website, you also talk about wellness,
right.
which also makes me pause. I read a lot of self-help books. I like to read about wellness. I like the contrast of those. Tell me how you incorporate wellness or how you brought wellness into
Yeah.
your approach with consulting.
So a history going back to my college days as a fitness and leisure management, exercise science degree, worked in cardiac rehab. It was kind of foundational to Mark as a young man. Got caught in the not caught, but in the corporate world, 20 plus years, and you're focusing on taking care of other people, and realizing in my mid 40s, wait a minute. I'm not taking as good a care of myself as I need to be, and use my old knowledge, created an exercise plan, a nutrition plan, and strategy that I follow to this day to help myself. And then a light bulb going off. I have a lot of peers that are also probably wondering, I'm 40 or I'm 45 and I'm not where I thought I would be at this stage of my life from a health and well-being standpoint. And therein lies the why behind, I want to help my peers in this industry and other industries be the best versions of themselves from a wellness standpoint as well.
Mark, I know you travel a lot. Tell me what you have on the horizon. What's up and coming that you're excited about?
Sure, yeah. I've done quite a bit of work in with associations, and I'm excited. I'm heading to Spokane, Washington. Never been to Spokane before, but I will this fly out there this Sunday. The Washington Healthcare Association and Idaho Healthcare Association, kind of a neat collaboration, I think, where two states are actually having their conference, their fall conference together. So I will be doing a mini workshop there, speaking on emergency preparedness in assisted living and independent living settings. So, really leaving attendees with all of the tools to create a program, an emergency preparedness program from scratch, from the ground up.
Oh, that's cool. One of
Yeah.
the podcasts that has been most listened to and downloaded from LTC Heroes is about the Texas, what when the grid broke down because of the freezing about 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh,
So
sure.
I feel like you found a good topic that people are really interested in.
Yeah. Yeah. And and I give some examples of case study. I ask the attendees to share their own case studies because they've got stories.
Mm.
But that's one of the case studies. So when that was happening in Texas, one of our communities also, power went out. It was 102 degrees on the day that the power went out. And so, yeah, it's very real, that scenario. Yep.
And talk to me about your speaking sessions. Do you have a new session that you're excited about, or do you have one that's kind of your staple that everyone continues to ask? And tell me what you learn about it after giving it two, three times, 10 times, 20 times yourself.
Sure. Yeah. So something that has been really well received. I've given the presentation a number of times throughout this year. It's called Being a Leader That Others Are Inspired to Follow. And Peter, it's based on, again, the concepts that we talked about earlier in our conversation, of focusing on what do our followers need from us as leaders, and then how do we apply proven concepts, to really become and be an empathetic leader, a leader that cares about their people and instills and inspires hope in their people.
Hmm. Mark, as we wrap up, this is a question that I like to ask people because I think I get some unique answers from it. And I think you're going to have a good one as a reader,
Yeah,
as a
yeah.
coach, as a teacher. If you could have a billboard on the outskirts of the big city that thousands of people would read every single day on their way to and from work, what would it say and why?
A billboard, yeah. Um, I've thought about this because I've thought about, yeah, the I-80, 680 corridor. If I put a billboard there, so I I really focus on the other person, and I know that the world, our industry, the world, there's a lot of broken down,
Mhm,
tired people out there that need help. They need someone to give them permission to say, "Hey, I need to tap out here. I need to take a little well time. I need to focus on me."
mhm,
And I think the billboard would say, if that's you,
mhm,
I can help you with that, and I
mhm.
want to help you with that.
Oh, great. Mark, thank you so much for joining me on
Sure.
LTC Heroes. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, Peter.